open their compiler for JavaScript. And then today we'll be going over arrays, objects, and more. So first of all, what is this is the wrong title. Okay, what is an array? It is a variable that can hold many values under one name. So the syntax that we're going to use is const, since you should usually use a constant for most array names. Sorry, for most arrays. That's generally how it's done. So const and then the name of your array equals, and then bracket, item 1, item 2, etc., bracket, and then to end your sentence, semicolon. And then the way that you can access it is through an index number. So here in this example, I have an array cars, and you can see, and you can see here we have const the name cars equals bracket Saab, Volvo, and BMW. And then the way that you're going to access it is using cars bracket 0, or that's what you call the index number. So cars at 0 would be Saab. So the way that arrays work in programming is instead of starting from 1, it starts from 0. So the index of array, you can see here, you go 0, 1, 2, even though there are 3 elements inside of the array. So the way that you can use this in your website is you have to use this long thing, document.getElementById, demo.innerHTML equals cars. That will just that's the way that you can access the array through the HTML. Arrays are essentially special objects, and I'll get into what an object is later. But the difference between the two is that an array, as we saw from the last slide, is accessed by an element number, while objects will be accessed by their property name, and I'll get into what the property name is. And there's...
You have to give it an ID for it to do document.getElementById.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So the reason why you have both arrays and objects is that both of them will have different stuff if you ask it to do something. So they have different methods that you can use on them that will return different types of stuff. So for example, if you create a variable, okay. For example, if you create an array called fruits dot length, then that dot length will return the length of the array fruits. So this will be different with objects. And it will return the length which is one higher than the array index. Using the example from before, we have the length of cars is 3, but the last index is 2. So this is really helpful with if you're trying to get the size of the array so you won't go out of bounds of the array. And so to add an element, you can use the method push. So again, this example, you have fruits, banana, orange, and apple, and you want to add lemon to the end. You can call the method push on fruits, and that will add lemon. And you all use objects when you want the element names to be strings. Oh yeah. generally, the way that you're going to use strings versus objects is that using objects, you're going to make the element name strings, while in arrays, the element names are numbers. So here's an example of iterating through an array. Again, we have our fruits example, and then we're going to get the length of our fruits. So this is a for loop, and basically what it's doing is it will loop through until basically, okay, so we create a variable here that's an integer, then we're going to loop through until that integer is less than the fruit length. And then increment it and then run through it again. Sorry, I should probably put this slide first. So here we have, we're going to say this is a for loop and then parentheses, and then inside we can put our arguments. So first we're going to declare an integer variable that will act as our counter. So this is the amount of times that you're going to run through the loop. Well, not amount of times, but this will set up the amount of times you're going to run through the loop. Then our condition is I is less than the length of the array. So if you think about it, the length of the array of the fruits array here is 4, right? So we're going to say we made I 0. So 0 is less than 4. So we're going to go through text and then print out the fruit. And then we're going to go to this condition again. And then we add 1 to I. So now I is 1. And then 1 is less than 4. So we're going to do it again. And then add 1 more. 2 is less than 4. Do it again. 3 is less than 4. Do it again. 4 is not less than 4. So we're going to exit from the for loop. And this action inside here will just get repeated the amount of times. And then fruits at I will access the fruit at index I. And then as we said before, we're just going to be changing I by 1 each time we loop through the for loop. And that is until I is not equal. That is until I is not less than the 4. So does anyone want me to explain this more, or see an example, or see what this does?
See what that does.
Okay. Oh wait, I closed my tab, so okay, it's fine. We can just make one together. All right. So I'm gonna create an array, const. Do you guys have a topic you want to put an array? Food. Okay. Const food equals. All right. What food?
Well, I put an apple and a banana.
Okay. Soup. Apple. Banana. Nice. And a pear. Okay. Oops. Okay, and sushi. All right, that's enough, that's enough. Okay, and shrimp. Okay, this is the last one. So, and then now we're going to create a variable that is equal to the length of food. Then we're going to create a for loop. So you can say for and then parentheses. We're going to create a variable I that is equal to 0. And then say a semicolon to separate it. as long as I is less than the length of the array food, and we don't want to go outside the length of the food because then it'll throw array out of bounds exception. Semicolon, and then I plus plus. So what I plus plus is it just does I plus 1. So the way the plus plus things work is that you can also do plus plus I, so that will add 1 to I before you use the variable. I plus plus will add 1 after you use the variable. So we're going to do I plus plus, then you need a bracket and a closing bracket. Then, oh, you can just log it, well, it's okay. We're also going to create a variable text. Here it's going to be empty, but we're just going to create the string beforehand. And now we're going to do text plus equals. So does anyone remember what plus equals does?
It adds 1. Or it adds.
Yeah, it adds to itself. So text plus equals 1 is text equals to text plus 1. So if you remember our x equals x plus 1 argument, if this was possible, we're just reassigning the value after changing the value. So yeah, text plus equals food at I. So I will be changing every time we iterate through this for loop. And then we're going to add a space in between. And then we're going to console.log our text so we can see what it is. So you can see this will it'll just go through every single part of the what do you call it? The array. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do something curious. I'm gonna say I plus 2. Does anyone have any guesses what this is going to print out?
I think it will print out it 2 times. Wait, no.
Curious. Okay, it's a good guess. Does anyone else have any guesses?
Can we think for a moment?
Yes, I'll give you guys 2 minutes or I'll give you guys 1 minute to think.
Okay, thank you. I think it's going to be an error.
Curious guesses, okay? You have 20 more seconds if you have any more guesses. Okay. I'll just run it. Yep, you're right. Now, oops, what if we do this? Oh, I was not supposed to run it, oops. Okay, anyways. How do I get rid of this? Okay, never mind. Basically, I++ will automatically assign like I plus 1, so it already has like the assignment operator inside of it. But another curious thing that you can do is you can skip the elements that you want. Like for example, here we're just skipping over apple, pear, etc. So that you can get like these values, for example. So it might be useful if you're using it somehow that way. Okay. So does anyone have any questions on for loops or anything, or arrays? Because if not, you have an exercise. So create and loop through an array called my favorite things and print it out to console. And you should add your in your array, add your favorite hobby, number, food, and class.
It says that my code from the previous question has an error because food is not defined.
Did you create a variable food that has value in it?
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. You're looping through the array, so it needs to have something to loop through.
Okay, it printed banana, apple, and mango.
Good. Is that right? Is that what's in your array?
I want to create another one.
Yeah. Okay, everyone, you have how much time do you need for this? You have like is 5 minutes enough? Okay, I'll give you 7 minutes.
Maybe like 7 minutes.
Okay, 7. I'll give you until 5:29 to finish this.
What do you mean by class?
Like your subject, like math, English, etc.
Okay. Can I put all?
Yeah, sure.
I'll put my answer in chat.
Yeah. Give me a thumbs up when you're all done. Where's the spider? What the heck? Oh no.
Wait, is that his answer?
Yeah.
Because I don't see the number. That's an interesting text. Could we write sentences?
Yeah, of course. Test out all the data types that you want in the array. Okay, does anyone need more time? Just raise your hand if you need more time. Or on the side, just give me a thumbs up if you're good. Okay, you know what? I'll just keep going. Our next thing is objects. So if we have, for example, an object, a car, in real life, the car is an object. In programming, we're going to create a car object, which has properties, such as, it can have properties like weight and color, and also methods to start and stop. And every car can have properties, but they will change depending on the car. So we're going to reflect that in our programming. Objects are basically also variables, but they can contain many values. Here we have an example of how to make a car object. You can declare values on multiple lines. So, like just saying that between the different properties, they don't have to all be on the same line. So this just helps with readability. Yeah. So like for example, first name colon John, that is what you call a property. So it's a property of the person. So to access a property, to access the data, we're gonna say the object name dot property name, or you can say object name and then in the brackets the quote around the property name. All right, just put in the chat how you would access the name John. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna have person dot first name. So person is the object here. First name is John, or person brackets first name. We also have object methods. So a method is a function stored as a property. So you can see at the bottom here, we just created a function inside of the person object. So you're gonna have the property name, the colons, and then function, arguments, and then inside brackets you will put your function operation. So in this function, it returns first name plus last name. So this keyword, and keyword means that it has a predetermined, like pre-programmed function, so you cannot use it as a variable name. So this dot will refer to the current object. So the current object here is person. Or if you think about it in a different way, we have, it's like the owner of the property. So the owner of first name is person. So that's how the code knows what that is referring to. And then to access a method inside of an object, you can use object name dot method name and then parentheses and any arguments if it has any. So here's another exercise. I'll give you 7 minutes for this. Create an array and an object dessert that has values cake, popsicle, donut, and a dessert of your choosing. Just so you can see the difference between creating an object and creating an array. And just let me know if you need me to go back to the object slides.
Can you go back to the objects, please?
Okay, give me a thumbs up if you guys are done now. Okay, I'll give you more time then. Alright, guys, I think I gave you enough time. So, Alex, is it okay if I use your code? And then I can also, okay, yeah. So he has created an object. Oh. There we go. He has created an object called mango sorbet with 3 strings and a function. So he tried to iterate through like it was an array, but an object is not an array, so unfortunately you cannot do it this way. So basically the way that you're going to iterate through an object, you should use for and in. So if you've done Python, you might know how to do this. Basically, instead of creating a variable, you're going to say for well, okay, yeah, we can use I, and then instead for let I in the object mango survey, and it's kind of behind me. Okay, it works though. It just also printed the function. Yeah, yeah, I am not in my right now. Another way that we can do this is since you already have this function here, if you're just trying to print delicious like mango, you can just call your function. So like console.log, and then inside the parentheses, mango _ sorbet dot, and then the function name is everything combined. So this should also work. Never mind, it didn't work.
Wait, what does it mean when it says everything combined?
Oh wait, here. There we go. This is the name of the function. Sorry, you have to add a parentheses at the.
Well, what if I just say console.log?
What do you mean?
Like, what if I just say, for example, my code is about a car, and I write console.log car. Would that work?
I don't remember. Let's find out. Why is this not typing?
Oh, it worked. But it's just looking very weird. Yeah, and now it's saying it's undefined.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, if you console.log, it'll just print out the whole object, including like the names of the properties and also the function, name of the function. So specifically, if you're trying to use the function, you just do the object dot everything combined, but also use the parentheses. Yeah, and this will work. If you don't use parentheses, it'll just that was not supposed to. If you don't use the parentheses, it'll just print out like the function. Or not. Yeah, it'll just print out the function. Okay. Yeah, also I'm so sorry. Today we don't have a Kahoot, but we will have one next week.